Today's session will introduce you to the 3D experience of Dassault system. In particular, how to value up the electromagnetic simulation with the platform, with the 3D experience platform, and how the 3D experience cloud helps you to remove the barrier for accessing high performance computing. Let's do a first analysis of how it looks your traditional working day or job. In a manufacturing company, there are multiple stakeholders involved in the design of a product. The designer can share, maybe is sitting on the top of a PLM system, is sharing the data, the CAD data with multiple engineers. And each simulation engineer works on their own local version of the CAD to set up the electromagnetic simulation, the structure simulation, general physics scenario, and then he wants to get back the data or the simulation to evaluate the results. If this results does not satisfy the requirement, then a discussion starts for changing the design and how this should be changed and so on. This takes place typically through email, maybe recently through chat. But this process, it's very iterative and continues until the final KPIs, the final key performance indicator, the goal of your design are met. Such an exchange of data and communication slow down the design process and is prone to error, with the risk to delay the time to market. 3D experience minimizes this risk by allowing all stakeholders to access the same data and integrate modeling and simulation. This is the ModSim paradigm of the Dassault system, which is data-driven and model-based. Let's try to see this a bit more into detail. Multiple stakeholders are working on the same project. To simplify the collaboration between them, we provide a web-based project management dashboard. This helps to share the project content, to discuss ideas, to keep track of the project. This is this gray out layer in the pictures. The definition of the requirement is the starting point for any engineering process. If you don't want, or if you don't meet the requirement, you need to modify your product and by a change management. These changes are directly attached to the model so that the engineer or the design engineer can work seamlessly together with simulation engineer. This is this light blue part of the process. In the next layer, the strong blue color, we can manage our test. It's here. And this is real as well, the virtual test, like, for example, simulation. These tests are directly linked with the process, which tell us how to perform the test. Processes have been directly accessed to the model and their parameter. These processes can be run for automation, multidisciplinary optimization, and so on. And the dark blue that we see here, this is the real core of the modeling and simulation, which means we can also parameterize the geometry, performs if we study, and optimize the geometry, and evaluate the performance of a product. So let's have a look how what it was years ago, the CST Studio Suite portfolio evolved in the recent year. The SIMULIA Electromagnetics portfolio can be found either on a 3D experience platform as well as a desktop. I think the large majority of our customer base is still focusing on the desktop version of CST Studio Suite. But we have introduced a set of enhancements, like, for example, we acquired a few years ago Opera for low frequency application. And we have started introducing new role for leverage the 3D experience platform. The main of this is the electromagnetics engineer, which will be focus of today. It allows to have almost a full experience on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, including the cloud computing interface. So this will be the focus, but don't forget that our portfolio is much broader. We have 2 new roles that we have developing for a really dedicated application on the platform, like the electromechanical analysis engineer and the antenna placement electromagnetics engineer. The portfolio is built in a way that if today you're using CST Studio Suite on desktop, for example, with a laptop or a workstation, you can ramp up your actual license to 3DEXPERIENCE Cloud. And with the electromagnetic engineer, you can really have a full 3DEXPERIENCE on the platform itself, on the cloud itself. To do that, to simplify this, we have simplified our license scheme. I think this is necessary. We did this for the computing part. We are able today to provide a scalable and flexible license scheme, which is offer you, how can I say, a pool of token or a credit, which is able to handle, for example, many jobs, if you want to accelerate through many cores or GPU, or even if you have the complete tool set of SIMULIA, like all CST solvers, like Opera solver, like Abacus and PowerFlow. This is the reason why we have introduced the SIMULIA unified license model for computing. And this can be adjusted according to all your needs. For example, this is your classical workload. So, I mean, you might be one of the heavy user of CST Studio Suite of simulation, and maybe you are running every day a lot of simulation, but usually this is how it evolves maybe in 1 year time. You have peak, you have maybe less usage. So what we offer usually is you the possibility to consider a certain number of tokens, which allow you to have a consistent simulation usage, and you can roughly predict your budget. Now, let's assume you have peak, you have burst, and you don't want to go, I don't know, to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the company and get the token. So you can still run your simulation, and you can apply credits, for example. But finally, let me point to the hashed area on the bottom. If you are really an heavy user of any kind of simulation, let's focus on the electromagnetics one, you can request your management to have, and we do it for selected role, a fixed number of token or which are embedded, or compute, let's call it like that, which are embedded in the role. Nobody can steal you. So this is, I would say, a nice way to really have a flexible and a scalable unified license model for the compute part. Get in touch with your software provider. So if it's directly the Dassault system, or if you are directly in one of our partner in touch, and try to let you know, try to understand better how this scheme can be applied in your company. We talk about the fact that the modeling and simulation, it's a paradigm based on data-driven and model-based. But what does mean that? So we can, in the next few slides, see how we can connect the data on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. For the mechanical data that we can select, I will have just, let's say, a brief touch, because Abdelak will, and Monica herself, will have a deep dive on how to access mechanical data. Just as a brief description, so we can select the data with a search. We have the possibility to store on the platform material properties, which are comprehensive of electromagnetics, as well as thermal properties or mechanical structure properties. I briefly introduce you to the abstraction shape. I think Abdelak will show you a bit more on that. And we are not restricted to only mechanical data. We can connect printed circuit board data coming, for example, from ECAD tool like Cadence Allegro or Altium, and 3D wire harness, but as well as electronic circuit behavioral model. Let's have a look how we can import electronics data on 3DEXPERIENCE from the 3DEXPERIENCE to CST Studio Suite. So you connect to the platform, you start searching for PCB data, which have been already saved to the platform using one of the connector that we have, maybe the one for Cadence Allegro. And this is download. So you open, I think, the well-known EDA import user interface, and nothing is really now changing in your daily work from now, because instead of searching in several maybe server in your company or on your different hard disk, you will only search on the 3DEXPERIENCE. And you set up a couple of ports, and this is the model that you get. You can save it to the platform, and now the simulation object is strictly linked to the original PCB data which were saved on the platform. This enables assembling as well of mechanical and ECAD data. In addition, we can even automatically complete the schematic. This is a features that we added in the recent CST Studio Suite version. And I mean, this is ideal for EMC analysis, EMC compliance analysis, as well as power electronics work. But as I said, we are not only focusing on the mechanical and PCB, we can even access wire harness. In this case, the main data are coming from CATIA tool, which already allows you to design cables. You have seen, so there was a cable already available there, or maybe a wire harness, and the topologies in a similar way. So we start CST Studio Suite, we connect to the platform. So the plugin, it's automatically there once the all physics analytics roles, for example, is installed. So you can have already a preview as well while you are importing. If this is the real model with the cable, you just click off the fact that you want to import wire harness as well. And again, so the right module starts, the geometry is downloaded, and in a few seconds, so you will get your model done. Here we go. The cross section for very basic, for single wire, for example, it's already available there. But of course, with CST Studio Suite, so you can enhance the cross section, so we have much more advanced model that you can put it in, like twisted cable. You can consider a shielded cable with different, let's say, geometry. So this is the first part. Ask Hilary so to join, and it will introduce you to the 3DEXPERIENCE Cloud, how to remove the barrier to access HPC for electromagnetic simulation.
So my name is Ilari Hänninen, and as Leonardo said, I will talk a little bit about 3DEXPERIENCE Cloud and how that helps to remove the barriers to high-performance computing for electronic simulations. So I also work in the electronics portfolio management with Leo. And yeah, let's jump right in, and let's start with the first barrier, accessibility and security. Or in other words, what is required to access the cloud and how secure your data is and how secure the connection to the cloud is and so on. And these are usually, and quite naturally, the first questions that come to mind when you start considering cloud-based solutions. And let's start with the security. The 3DEXPERIENCE cloud is not just a single type of cloud. We have a public cloud that is accessible to all, from small companies to startups to large companies or large-scale enterprises with high level of security built in. Well, what does that mean? First, the connection to the cloud is encrypted. So even if you connect by internet, your data is secure during the transmission. Second, you have a strong authentication to access the cloud, so that nobody else can access your account on the cloud. And thirdly, even though you may share the resources with other users or companies, nobody else but you can access or see your data. And the data is also encrypted on the cloud. But we also have more secure options for company situations that require, for example, for legal or regulatory reasons, or just for the peace of mind. The next option is to have a private cloud, which means that on top of all the security that the public cloud offers, you don't share the resources with other users. Also, the connection is via secure VPN, so you have an added layer of security for that as well. Highest level of security can be achieved with dedicated cloud option, but that is typically reserved for situations where the data is extremely sensitive or cannot be stored anywhere else due to legal or regulatory reasons, for example. The next question that typically follows from how secure is the cloud is, what do you need to access the 3DEXPERIENCE cloud? Now, Leonard already touched upon this topic. And the answer is quite simple. We have now two basic options. One is to have the electromagnetic engineer role, and one is, let's say, for normal CST studio customers. With electromagnetic engineer role, everything you need is already included in the role in the license, access to the 3DEXPERIENCE cloud, and also cloud compute with up to 16 CPU cores is included in the role. So you can run cloud simulations up to 16 CPU cores free of charge. And yeah, that's basically the easiest option. With CST Studio Suite, all you need is the all physical analyst role, which gives you the access to the cloud and all the required functionality, and that you need to run simulations. However, to be able to actually run simulations as well, you need simulated tokens or credits that the simulation itself consumes or the simulation run itself needs. And of course, you still have your own local CST Studio license for modeling, post-processing, and so on. Well, what can you actually do on the 3DEXPERIENCE cloud then? Almost everything that you can also do in normal CST Studio Suite locally on your laptop or workstation, in addition to running it on very fast hardware on the cloud. We support all 3D solvers and most schematic and SAM workflows. There's still a few that we're working on, but those will be added soon as well. Parameter seek and optimization are supported. All high-performance computing options, CPU computing, GPU computing, MPI computing, all the newly distributed computing are supported. And for electromagnetic engineer customers, we even support the interactive sessions that allow you to do modeling, simulation setup, and post-processing on cloud without actually having to have any data stored locally. So you can have a fully cloud-based workflow if you wish, without any up or downloading of data to and from the cloud. Now, let's hop over the second barrier, access to quick hardware. It is a question that companies quite often have to ask themselves. Do we need to invest in more hardware to have the computational resources we need? How much do we need to invest? Is enough? Do we need more? What to do? And cloud compute can help you over the barrier by providing quick access to multiple types of hardware on a very short notice. So you need to commit to a certain investment or hardware type, which might not be fully fit your purpose. Cloud offers multiple options and very transparent cost for hardware access, which makes it very easy to access high-performance computing whenever you need it. And although cloud compute is very much about fast computing resources, I don't actually want to spend too much time on this topic since I want to move on to the actual practice, how you actually use cloud for electronic simulations. But just briefly, here is listed the currently available hardware resources that we have on the cloud. We have multiple CPU computing-based options from single to multi-node. We have high memory compute nodes for those workflows that really require a lot of RAM. We also have GPU computing-based options for those solvers that really benefit from the GPUs. And although I show this list here, I don't want to focus too much on it since the hardware in this cloud is always being updated. And that is also one advantage of the 3DEXPERIENCE cloud that provides access to the latest hardware. If you invest yourself in some high-performance computing hardware, you are pretty much stuck using that for a while to recoup the cost of the investment. And even if newer or better hardware is available, not so much on the cloud, where the hardware can be typically renewed much on a quicker pace than you could afford to do on your own. And that is also what we are doing. So this list will this year still be updated. There will be some more options available. Just to finish the hardware section, here are a couple of typical benchmarks showing what the performance the cloud computing can be when compared to a fairly powerful workstation or laptop. So here's a PCB simulation example, a fairly large mesh size. And even if you have access to a more powerful workstation than a, let's say, a single quite good performing laptop, let's say something like this 36 CPU core option listed on the bottom left side here. You can still have much faster simulation times with the higher performing or faster cloud configurations if need be. And just another benchmark as well, this time with mobile phone, SAR calculation model, which actually didn't even run on our laptop workstation anymore because of memory requirements. And there is another advantage that the cloud provides, especially for, let's say, maybe smaller companies or startups that do not have the resources or cannot invest in large workstations. The 3DEXPERIENCE allows you to have these kind of simulations or run these kind of simulations when it otherwise might not be possible or not cost effective. Let's then jump over the third barrier, ease of use, which section where I want to spend most of my time actually, since I want to show you how this all works in practice. And instead of just showing slides, I would like to show you a video demonstration of an actual workflow so you can really see how this works. And let's start from the beginning in the CST or the Electromagnetic Engineer interactive session. We start from a CAD data, in this case, a USB connector that is available on the platform. And once I find it here on the platform, I can then select it and then directly import, or that will directly import it into the CST studios running in the interactive session on the cloud. As I mentioned earlier, note that this interactive session is only available for the Electromagnetic Engineer customers, but you can of course do the same workflow locally with your normal CST studios license, create the model and then save it on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform and so on. But just to show that what is currently capable also on the cloud really have like a fully cloud-based simulation workflow, I want to emphasize this interactive session modeling and usage. So here I have finally set up the simulation, extended the model. I set up the ports, the waveguide ports, the excitations, field monitors, and so on, and also can check then the meshing, for example, to make sure that I am happy with my model setup and how it looks like, how it runs. And then finally, I can then save it again on the platform. And then go into Simulation Manager app, which is basically a user interface to run the simulations. So here I select my USB connector, then I select the simulation type that I want to run and the hardware type I want to run, and I just run or select submit and run simulation. All right. Then now we have gotten a cup of coffee and the simulation are hopefully finished. So we can go back into the interactive session. or first, let's say, I can also in Simulation Manager directly monitor or check the 1D results of the simulation. So I can quickly check that the simulation ran okay. And I can also use this functionality to monitor simulation while it's running to make sure that, for example, the solver is converging properly. There's no unexpected problems with the simulation, in which case I could maybe stop the simulation, check whatever is wrong with the model and restart it. And then, as I said, open the simulation, the CST3 session, and do all the type of post-processing that I would usually do, check all the field monitor results and so on. And I want to emphasize again that this is all running remote. So nothing here is not rendered directly on your own laptop. It's all done remotely. We are just streaming basically all the graphics then on your web browser. So that means that it's very lightweight on your own local hardware. So basically all the limiting factor is then your own internet connection speed, possibly. Well, then I can also jump into the schematic to do some further post-tracing. In this case, I'll just add a very simple, actually, in this case, frankly, a bit useless circuit just to demonstrate a little bit the functionality, make a very simple circuit, and then define a schematic task that I can run. So in this case, I'll select an AC combine task that I define. So setting it up. And then once I finish that, I can again save on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, the model, and then jump back into the simulation manager. And this time I want to select the schematic simulation type instead of 3D, because the 3D part is already done. So I can just run the schematic part, select whatever hardware I want to run, and then resubmit it. And again, this time not go for a cup of coffee because schematic simulation, so it's very quick, so no time for coffee this time. But again, after the simulation is finished, we can again check the results in the interactive session. But as I said, all this is available also with a normal CST3 license. Here I'm checking the results. We have the normal AC combined results and so on. I would also have then the combined results, the combined field result, monitor results. So again, I can check these results as I would do on the normal CST3 running locally. All that is running smoothly. And as I said, limiting factors basically are just your internet connection because everything is done remotely. But if I don't have the electron engineer role, of course, I can just then jump into the 3D space, select the simulation model with the results that I run, and open that in CST Studio Suite. I can download the results via Powered By. And in this case, I can select if I want to download full results or just 1D results, for example. If I want to, for example, archive the result only, and I need the whole 3D results, which let me take a lot of space, disk space. So I can just select 1D results, if that's sufficient. And yeah, do all the same basic post-processing that I would do in the intersession, also then local. So it's all exactly the same, just a matter of are you fully on the cloud or are you partly on the cloud, and what is the best for your simulation or your workflow, and what do you want to do. But 3DEXPERIENCE is not just about CST Studio Suite and the cloud computing interview session. We can also access and visualize the results without opening CST Studio Suite in any way, by web-based result visualization, for example, with the physics simulation review app. So we have all the same results available on the platform, 1D results, far field plots, field results, and so on. So also just to demonstrate that quickly, this is how it would look like, this USB connector model that I showed just a moment ago. So I can, in the 3D space, instead of just now opening CST Studio, I can open, for example, a physics simulation review app. And in this app, I can select 1D results and visualize, for example, S parameters and all other 1D results, as you can see here. Or I could then also select field monitor results, 3D field monitor results, or far field monitor results, and so on. Of course, maybe the plotting capability is not for electronic results, not quite so feature rich as in CST Studio Suite. But if in case you need to quickly share the results with somebody or show them on the fly when you don't have access to CST Studio Suite, or you need to share them with somebody who doesn't have access to CST Studio Suite, this is a very lightweight and easily accessible way of accessing and sharing the results. And when I say very simple access, I really mean very simple access. You can do it on a mobile phone. So you can even, you happen to go to a coffee stop with your colleague and you ask something about the results, you can pull out your mobile from your pocket and browse and show these results while you're walking down the corridor somewhere. So all the results that I just showed in the web interface on the laptop screen, that's also available also on the mobile phone. So there's no different model, but it's working just the same. So I can select the 1D results, far field results in this, like in this case, or 3D monitor results and visualize them and share them on or show them just in the same way as I would do on the laptop or on the bigger screen. Then let's jump over the last hurdle, the licensing. I don't want to go into too much detail about all this since Leonard already covered that topic quite extensively in his presentation. I just want to reiterate that we offer a very flexible licensing model that suits all use cases, from light usage with embedded computing in electromagnetic engineer to more consistent simulation uses that cover the basic high-performance computing needs that you need to. It can cover, for example, SIMULIA tokens that offer a very predictable budgeting model, to burst or variable usage, and simulation usage is really variable or not predictable, and or there's sudden need to quickly access more simulation resources. Then simulated credits are a good and flexible way to access that. And in all these three cases, compute costs are transparent, easy to understand, so it's very easy to estimate and budget based on your computing needs. And that already brings me to the end of my presentation. So we covered the four main barriers to access high-performance computing and how 3DEXPERIENCE helps to remove them. First, the accessibility and security. 3DEXPERIENCE Cloud offers a simple and secure way to access high-performance computing for all types of users and scenarios. With quick access to quick hardware, there's no need to invest in own hardware, no need to know exactly what you need. The resources are available when you need them. Ease of use, simple to use, no need to install anything. It's even possible to have a fully cloud-based workflow. And simplicity of licensing, very flexible compute model that caters to all usage scenarios. And that's it. And I hope that I managed to convince you that accessing high-performance computing with 3DEXPERIENCE Cloud is secure, quick, and simple. And I thank you for your attention.